Welcome back to Beards and Brews. Hey, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe or follow no matter where you're listening. Not only does it help us out, but you'll know exactly when we have another one brewing. Fellas, back in the 90s, there was this great movie called Twister. And then 30-something years later, Twisters. What'd you guys think?
So this was just like Twister, except there's a different cast, and this was made in 2024.
Right. Just because this movie's a little fresh in the theater as we make this episode, I'm going to issue a spoiler warning.
So, I did not, gotta be honest here, I did not see the film. You guys got some pre-screenings. I did not have one in my town. I missed out. So, Eric, you had a wonderful idea, pitching the idea of convincing me to see Twisters now that it is in my local theater. I want you to make me want to get into all of those suck zones.
Yeah, so I think this movie officially actually didn't drop until yesterday, so we might have gotten a little bit lucky on that, but I was kind of excited for it. I was a big fan of Twister growing up. Like, I watched that movie a lot. It was a whole lot of fun. Figured, why not see this movie in the theater? IMAX, full-blown IMAX, too. It was something. How'd you see it, Eric?
I got a big old screen too. It wasn't IMAX. In Canada, it's called Ultra AVX. It's just really big. It's supposed to take up your entire vision to where you don't really have to look left or right. And boy, things get twisted.
Does that take, whenever you get to see the Twister on that periph-to-periph view, does that make it a bit more intimidating in the sense of, I'm more in the storm? Or was it just one of those things to where, I got to look over to my left to see fake Helen Hunt versus fake Bill Paxton on the far right of my eyesight?
Hey, Bill, glad you're back. I'm not back.
Man, I'm going to be real with you. All my nostalgia aside, I was overwhelmed. That was a lot.
Oh.
It was loud.
Yeah, that's something I was going to bring up. Twister actually won, I want to say, at least was nominated. It might have won the Academy Award for sound design. And this movie really tries to do that too, mostly in the fact that it's really fucking loud.
Like an interesting loud? Or are we talking just wind noise loud, like you're standing in a wind tunnel and there's a cow going rah?
First of all, that's one thing I want to talk about. Not nearly enough cows, but mostly, honestly, it was just the soundtrack was loud. It was just a loud experience. The tornadoes not quite as much, but it was loud. I should have brought earbuds.
Brady, this movie was loud across the board, but it wasn't loud in an aggressive way. I was never afraid or anything. I think that's what sets this movie apart, or one of the many things, is that in the original Twister, the sound, even though they mashed together jet engines, lion roars, and everything else, it felt like the Twisters had weight. And they're going to suck the soul out of you, so call off work tomorrow morning.
That's not that technical term for it, obviously, but...
In this movie, it's just, you're right, it's just kind of wind, and it almost feels like this movie's trying to be really accurate to real life.
Yeah, they throw in a lot of science in here, to be honest. I don't know the science behind it, not a meteorologist myself, but from what I've read, it seems like the community thinks that this movie is very scientifically accurate, for what it's worth.
Okay, so as the layman viewer, I don't go to learn the science of the tornado. You know what I mean? I want to see if that tornado is f***ing shit up, and being told how it does it doesn't really matter. I don't need to know that the alien from Aliens has the little 4 spikes on his back to vent heat and regulate his body temperature. I don't give a fuck, as long as he's eating faces. So as long as these tornadoes are kicking ass, I don't need the science. It can roar like a lion. It's probably better off roaring like a lion.
I will tell you, one more way that we had a little bit of a different experience, Eric, was that I had the live, quote, live Q&A beforehand, and because of that, I had several songs from the soundtrack being played back to back to back in a row with that loudness packed in, and man, it was so bad. The soundtrack is so bad and so overwhelming.
In the original, man, I really loved the soundtrack. It was almost like a motif. It was just hard rock, a bunch of people having fun. In this one, it's kind of like a time travel forward. It definitely takes into account that it takes place in a really red state with a really red truck, and they're yee-hawing around these Twisters.
Yeah.
At first, I was a little taken aback, but it's one of my favorite things in the movie. It's a lot of fun. but let me tell you, I'm right there with you, Chandler. The music is fucking god-awful, and anything and everything that plays will never stick in your head.
You've got all the greats on here. You've got Luke Combs. You've got Jelly Roll, Lainey Wilson. More Jelly Roll. It's bad.
More
guys.
Jelly Roll. They're like, how much? And he's like, more.
Yeah.
More jelly.
Oh, Rollsworth. I mean, the fact that there's no Van Halen nor Post Malone, which would be a perfect pick for this movie.
Yeah. Post Malone feels like a perfect fit, but no, they doubled up on the Jelly Roll.
So music aside, though, did it lack the charm of the other tornadoes? Like when those tornadoes in Twister are tearing ass and they're coming through and they're tearing something apart, maybe they are coming after fucking not Jodie Foster.
No, not really. The escalation in the first one, where it kind of felt like the tornado outbreak was like a little bit of a serial killer, is pretty much completely absent. And unfortunately, like unlike the original, it doesn't really carry the tornadoes in grace. It more often than not shows off these things really unceremoniously.
Yeah. What I took from it, like, there are a whole lot of small towns in Oklahoma, and they are all the same. All of the people are just sort of generic people. The towns are generic towns, and they're all just in the path of a tornado.
Hey, if you don't like America, then you can get out.
What is the plot of this one? You know, the other one, the original Twister, even had like that hint of love story, you know, with
Sure.
Helen Hunt and Paxton, and they carried a little bit of that. I don't even know the stars of this one. I thought maybe that was Scott Eastwood, but I could be wrong.
So what we have here, our big star is actually Glen Powell, but we don't get to him for a little bit. His introduction doesn't come until after the prologue. The movie itself is actually focused around Kate, played by Daisy Edgar Jones, who I'd heard of before, but didn't really know anything about. But I think she does a pretty fine job as this lead.
I am like 1/3 of the way there with you.
Mm-hmm.
You got Kate, we just mentioned. We got Tyler, we just mentioned. We also have Javi, who existed in a tornado team with Kate earlier in the movie.
Sure.
We'll go over the prologue here shortly, but like, in my opinion, both Javi and Kate were kind of bad.
Oh, really?
I don't know. Especially with Javi, I was feeling just very nothing.
Oh, huh.
But Tyler, I think, would have been my favorite character if the movie would have leaned into that stuff a little bit more. Otherwise, kind of fine. Just like on average across the board.
See, I think we might be kind of in reverse on that. Javi, I think, felt like the most genuine, real example of a person, someone who can be like both sides of the situation, understand what's going on over here, what's going on over here. Tyler, let's get it out of the way. He is distractingly handsome, and that's almost unrealistic in this movie. Like, just rugged yeehaw guy in Oklahoma. No, you can look at this guy and tell he's like an actor or a politician. He is way too put together. But Javi seemed real. He seemed real. He seemed to be able to lay down his lines with conviction. He seemed like he was saying words that people would actually say in ways that they would actually say them, not acting. And so I felt a little connection to him.
Okay, so hearing you guys already being divisive about the leading roles, there is no divisiveness when it comes to Twister. Whenever you see these people, you know who's the star, you know who's driving the story, and then you have your accoutrement of accessory characters like Philip Seymour Hoffman and wife. Well, at least wife. They all play their role to a T, whether it's I've got 3 lines and I'm going to really chew the scenery, or I'm going to make you feel like I'm kind of trashy and clingy. And don't get me wrong, I like a big, dumb, fun movie as much as anybody else.
Sure.
But I gotta like the people, because that was one of the biggest detractors for me with like the Kong and Zilla movies. Every time there's monsters, I'm like, fuck yeah. And then it shows the people, and they're like cardboard cutouts, and it's just like, fuck, this is 40 minutes of the movie.
I didn't really buy the whole Kate Javi thing, but they're not necessarily cardboard. I definitely noticed that we didn't spend enough time to get to know fucking anybody. At the very beginning of the movie, there's this little prologue. We get to meet Kate and her first tornado team. Her, Javi, and a couple other people, they're all just hanging out, having a good time, chucking barrels into the wind. What are you going to do on a Thursday night in Oklahoma? And nothing but huck barrels into Twisters. Fine. I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah, Kate has been working on this project since middle school. The idea is going to drive this solution into a tornado, and the idea is that it's going to use its like foamy capabilities to dissipate, take all the moisture out of the tornado and make it not do as much damage or kill it altogether. This is an F1 tornado. We're going to test it on this. Turns out, whoops, it's an F5 tornado. It's a fucking killer.
Now that's a lot of damage.
Yeah, Brady, I got a little bit of a giggle, right? So, like, they're doing their science experiment. You don't get enough time to kind of know anybody, but that's fine. You realize very quickly they're cannon fodder. F1 tornado blows up into an F5 so quickly that, like, they look in their rear view mirror and they're just like a wall of swoosh.
Is Kevin Costner there waving goodbye to his son and like fucking Geralt of Rivia's under the bridge? Like, oh, Dad, let me save you.
You know, don't come into the Twister. They'll know you're Superman. I mean, son. Super son. No, I didn't mean that either. Oh.
The first one's yoinked. The second one's yeeted. And then the third one, you think he's going to make it. They're right there under the bridge, grasping along to that pipe, much the way they survive at the end of the first one. And he just slips away.
Since the first movie has come and gone by quite a bit, we've learned much more of how to survive tornadoes and situations alike, and going under an underpass or overpass, huge no-no. Amplifies the wind.
Is it really?
Yeah, it turns into like a bottleneck and it strengthens the wind.
You say that we've learned more. These guys didn't learn from the previous movie to use a belt.
Did they not watch the first movie?
Well, see, that's the thing. They operate in a vacuum because in that universe, that movie is a real event. But on top of that, two of the people that are in this group heading towards the overpass mention how awful of an idea this is, and it's their one choice, I guess. Their truck got, so they go in there. Kate's boyfriend tries to hold her against the girder, and she's like, "Oh, I can't take it anymore!" And just gets sucked up like Helen Hunt's dad in the first one, door and all.
It's the wonder of nature, baby!
Now, one thing I do want to mention, there are actually very few direct references to the first movie in this. They treat it kind of like its own world. They do use Dorothy. It's Dorothy 5, I think, in this first scene.
Yeah, you're right. All the references and all the line callbacks are extremely subtle. I think this movie is kind of so far apart anyways, even though they're generally the same movie.
Sure.
Kind of a soft reboot, but at least like having that disconnection, sink or swim, at least it's on its own.
Mm-hmm. Now, y'all want to get into the meat and potatoes of this movie now that the prologue's done?
Yeah, big dog. Let me know what's going on in the motherfucking suck zone.
All right, so Kate works in New York City. Javi shows up 5 years later and is like, hey, I've been in the military doing military stuff. We've got this new technology that can kind of see the inside of tornadoes and how they're formed. That's cool. We've got a mobile now. We can strap them on the back of trucks. Hey, won't you come up out here, Oklahoma, 1 week, show us how to do this thing right, and we'll get to help a lot of people stay out of harm's way. That's what we're doing. Come on.
Let's go back to Oklahoma. I know it's tough and the wounds are still healing, but we can go there and kill us a Twister. What do you think?
And she reluctantly agrees.
Is this their vibe for vengeance against the tornado? Because in the previous, Twister, roar, it growled, and she wanted to get revenge by saving it and throwing the little balls inside of its mouth because that's hot. But in this one, they want to kill it. They want to basically nerf a tornado by throwing silica gel inside of it and be like, dry you out like a bag of jerky.
Right on the money.
Whoosh, we're in Oklahoma now. This is where we actually start the movie in earnest. We've got all the main characters here. There's a big meetup. We got Tyler Owens, fucking tornado wrangler extraordinaire, YouTube star, with his complete posse rolling into this big tornado meetup.
His handsomeness aside, this is the brilliant chunk of the movie. This is the best way to modernize the tornado hunting genre. Like, I watch Pecos Hank. I watch these guys. I love them. Even though that he is like a stereotypical, like, far into the spectrum character with his like, yeehaw, I'm shooting fireworks in a tornado. Yes, Brady, I said that.
Yep.
You realize like how entertaining it is by default.
Yep.
Like, you want to see more of this guy. You want to see more of his posse just doing just like crazy, wacky shit.
Oh, man. This is the fun part, sweetheart.
And the movie kind of like taps the gas pedal into it, but in my opinion, this movie would have been twice as good if it just got a little bit more ridiculous and silly and just let the reins go,
I mean, we're on that path. It turns out Tyler Owens is actually a little bit charming, and like, we can't stay mad at him long. He does bring his crew. We've got a little assortment of a menagerie that he rides along with. Do you remember much about these folks?
Kinda. The little meetup that you had mentioned is very reminiscent of the gas station diner bit, you know, when Jonas and the fellas kind of show up with the other team and they, you know, butt heads and stuff like that.
100%.
But I guess the movie's little creative side, the way to kind of turn the whole scene on its head, is that the tornado wranglers now, they're the bad guys. You know, like, you're here for science and they're here for some horse shit and you ain't about it. But you ain't mad, you're just Kate, and you're just like,
Yep.
Well, I guess he's too handsome to be pissed at him, you know?
They really do try and like flip it on its head. Like in this one, you know, we are the professionals, we are the good guys. It's these amateur hobbyist YouTubers that are just obviously our rivals, and they just get in the way with their yeehaw firecracker bullshit.
Do they have a similar scene with the meetup at a house where they have the family barbecue?
Yeah.
Get all the cars together. Dom shows up and says, "We're gonna take down that Twister."
Guys, we are not invading my aunt.
I mean, everything's there. Like, you have that moment of defeat. Like, we'll get to it. Like, she goes to her mom's house because she's having issues with current tornado chasing. As you do. You need some place to kind of recharge and just get back in the game. We don't get that, like, actual family moment. You know, like, in Twister, they constantly talked about this woman and where they're going and how important she is. And then we get to meet her and we see how vibrant she is and how great her property is and how she's just like in the meta. Like, she's a part of the group. She's just like a satellite member, right?
Family.
In this one, they just hard cut to a house, mom's home, and she has a workshop there.
I am constantly annoyed by this scene because I want it to be so much more than it is. I wanted it to be that, oh, we're going back home to Joe's mom's house and she's going to feed us steak and eggs, that kind of stuff, and it's not there.
Yeah, it's just her, and then Tyler just shows up, and he's so damn handsome that his mom takes one look at him. It's like, he's staying.
Yep, he's staying for dinner. You should probably go ahead and plan on kids, too.
No, I thought it was hilarious, because, like, as soon as it cut to him just, like, sadly walking down those 2 steps up to the door.
Whoa. Back it the fuck up. All right, we doing some notebook shit out here? Was he like, that Twister wasn't over? It still ain't over. And then he fucking takes his shirt off and they kiss in the rain.
I mentioned that I had a brief Q&A before this, and in that they actually talk about this scene, and the director is there and he's talking about how, like, he didn't realize what he was doing until he saw it through the camera, and then he's like, oh, this might be something. People in my theater, when that scene came on, they clapped at his white t-shirt in the rain. Get the fuck out of here.
I'm going to put the plot twist on the table immediately.
He was the Twister all along?
Absolutely. He took his shirt off and blew us all away. We said Tyler and the gang, they're a bunch of baddies, and we just spoke of a scene where we kind of learned that he's not bad at all. In fact, thinking back, I didn't think of one terrible thing he ever did in the whole movie.
He was not mean, but I don't know. I think he just, showed up to this place and saw a brand new pretty girl and was like, I'm going to go talk to her in that open field.
He will have long brown hair, fucking legs that go all the way up, and an ass that just won't quit. And then it's a Twister.
An ass like a 13-year-old boy. Oh, sorry. Wrong Bill Paxton movie.
God, I was still caught on, like, what woman doesn't have legs that go all the way up? All right, anyways.
All right. Before we get too deep into this, I do want to just address and introduce his crew, because he does have a crew here, and they do play an important role in this. Okay, so you've got the core 4. We've got a guy named Boone, played by Brandon Perea.
Right.
Most well-known from Nope. I have met that gentleman. He was very nice. We've got Lily, who has dreads. That's what I knew her as. She has dreads. We've got Danny, played by Katie O'Brien, who plays, I don't remember her character's name, but I know her from Love Lies Bleeding. She is that very buff lesbian character who can bench press me if she wants. Holla at me. And then we've got Dexter, an older but very smart black man who just says the most... Again, is he the magical Negro of this?
First of all, Yes.
Okay.
Second, he was probably my favorite of Tyler's team because he seemed the most intelligent and enthusiastic all at the same time. Like, every time
Sure.
he farted out exposition, whether it be like science babble or anything else, like, I preferred him to everybody else because it just seemed more natural. Like, everybody else is just kind of like belting out weather acronyms and just forecast stuff. It's just like, okay, fine, whatever, Twister bad. But this guy, like, I liked him. He was the one of the group whom we already didn't have enough time to get to know, but he's the one that stuck out to me.
Yeah.
Thus far, you have convinced me of very little other than this dude, Glen Powell, the Yeehaw Tyler, is something to gander at. Like, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to sit through a loud bunch of nothing, I'm going to meet Neil deGrasse Tyson, be like, oh, he's cool, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, there's going to be Ryan Gosling in The Notebook, and I'm going to be like, I guess I'm jacking.
But that's his team, and his plus one is he's got a journalist from Britain who's writing a story about American phone chasing.
I forgot about that guy.
Yeah.
Absolutely pointless.
More or less pointless. Yeah. He just plays a role that probably should be played by, like, I want, like, Simon Pegg in this role or something. Like, I don't want him to try and be funny. I just want him to be Simon Pegg.
Well, he's just naturally funny and charismatic. This guy is just like, not anything against the actual actor, but his character is just like bumbling British man.
Nope, I got it. I want Hank Azaria.
Oh, yes. In fact, he can just like carry over that same character from Godzilla. No one gives a shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not the movie we wanted,
Yeah.
but it's the movie we deserved.
Yeah, you're not that far off, but let's keep going just to see what happens.
Well, I'd hate to get things twisted.
Well, since we're at about the halftime show, might as well see what I've got today. It's a Twisted Tea, and just in case there are others, this is the original Twisted Tea. This is a 5.0% alcohol by volume, hard iced tea malt beverage from the Twisted Tea Brewing Company. That doesn't sound right, but I'm going to go with it. Honestly, it tastes like Lipton brisk iced tea with a little bit of alcohol in it. That's exactly what it tastes like. That's brisk, baby. I kind of like it. Honestly, this is not bad. Same as this movie, I have had much better, I have had much worse, but this one will do.
Well, speaking of things coming in briskly, this whole storm thing, let's talk about that. In the first movie, it was the storm of the century, and now that century is long fucked off, we have the storm of a generation to get to.
And then we have 5 more.
I will give it to the movie that the CG didn't quite suck. Yeah, I say that with a wiggly hand gesture that no one can see but me. It's just a weird thing to where this is the industry standard, and for me to bring it up any further would be just completely asinine.
Yeah, it's fine.
As the consumer, I am fucking hateful towards CGI. I am burnt out, especially on bad CGI. I watched Cocaine Bear, and there were moments where I was like, damn, that's a real bear. If they can make that bear look fucking believable in a movie called Cocaine Bear starring Ray Liotta, where Ray Liotta just isn't even fucking there.
Funny guy.
I've seen way better. I've seen way worse CGI. This was fine. This was like, it works. I'm not really complaining about it. It gets the job done.
I'll tell you this as a blanket statement. We finally arrived in the realm of remakes, reboots, and legacy sequels where everything is going to at least be okay. I think we've finally approached a barrier where everything is on the uptick. Now, this isn't a masterpiece by any means, but this thing could have pissed off just about everybody. It'd be like making a sequel to The Mummy again, and it's being absolute ass regardless of who's in it.
Yeah.
It avoids that completely, so I'll give it that. This is not a bad movie.
We know that there's something going on with Javi and his investor team. It turns out his investor team's just trying to buy up a bunch of land for pennies on the dollar from people that have just had their lives destroyed. So Katie's not feeling too great about that. It really just turns the professional team upside down with, like, you're trying to figure out who's the good guy. Maybe we're all bad guys, maybe we're all good guys.
I thought it was great. I thought that idea was fantastic for the movie. In the original, we love Carrie Ellis.
Jonah did nothing wrong.
He totally didn't, but the thing is, that movie got off on basically villainizing someone just cause he's just a dick. This one actually gives you something to really hate these people for, but when they show you who the guys are working for, like the big bad, it's fucking Boss Hogg with a big white cowboy hat and a giant cigar and a belt buckle. I'm like, give me more of that. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Get me them Duke boys and another one of them twisters down here ASAP before Smokey and the boys get on back down here.
On my way, mate.
He's almost not bad enough.
Yeah, and it makes me feel like this whole thing is just like a platform for sequels. Well, like this is the kind of movie where like the problem gets resolved locally, but it isn't resolved completely.
Yeah. Like everybody in the town kind of feels like this guy's a dick, so they stop selling their land to him, so he just goes like 6 counties over.
Yeah, hell with it.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? The idea of like the Storm of the Century being cultivated, that's a good idea too. Just fuck it.
Oh. What if this guy, being the billionaire that he is, decides that instead of dissolving tornadoes, he can create the technology to build tornadoes, create them, and have them run over these towns and then buy up their land?
I think that your slip on your word there, the cornado, has more attention than this movie does in my mind currently. Because now I'm like, man, what if there was a big, a Colonel FC type dude who's running around and he's setting tornadoes against the farmland, but it's only there to destroy the crops. He's after the corn. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, as a gentleman who celebrates Cornmas, I'll keep my ear out.
Heyo.
So the next thing we have, Kate declines to hang out with Javi because she's a little bit pissed at him. It's like, I'm going to the motel, gonna sleep it off. Actually, this tall, handsome guy's here.
Yeah.
Let's go to the rodeo. They go out to the rodeo, and it turns out this isn't her first.
Yeah.
He's been calling her New York the whole time. It turns out she's from Oklahoma all along.
Sure, man. Any excuse to get that scene where they're all at the drive-in from the original Twister, fine.
Yep. I just thought it was any excuse to say the phrase, "This ain't my first rodeo."
Why not? I just didn't buy this whole scene. Like, I know they're supposed to just kind of get a little closer here, but the whole, like, him calling her New Yorker and her accent occasionally occurring, like, I didn't even know she was supposed to be Oklahoman for the longest time until, like, a third of the way through the movie. Like, oh, okay, her accent's a little thicker and this is fine. I get it. Totally didn't hear that British O or anything.
Yeah, like, I didn't know that she was British to start out with before that Q&A, but the whole time I was listening for it, but I was honestly a little bit impressed with how she kept that tucked in. She doesn't sound Oklahoman, she just sounds American. And that's good enough.
One thing I would like to talk about, though, is that, Brady, you might have some too, but before I even walked into the theater, I was just talking to the missus of, like, all the predictions that I had. The thing that I was kind of hoping that they would lean in towards is just, like, the ridiculousness of it all. Like, the whole fireworks thing was something they touched on and didn't run with it or anything, but I kind of had the idea the movie would introduce, like, an F6. Like, just like the bigger, badder motherfucker, like the Indominus Rex in Jurassic World, which this movie is very much like Jurassic World.
Yeah.
And just go with it. Just, like, absolutely just take off with the idea and have a little bit more fun.
Yeah, like, this movie could have been more fun. I'll say that. Could have been more fun. So, there's a tornado that shows up at this rodeo, and, they have to swirl around to, like, get everybody inside and protected. They go to this motel. They're like, everybody get into a basement. And at that motel is a customer who's like, this motel doesn't even have any power. I'm gonna leave you a bad review on whatever website. Do you know who that is?
I don't know who that is, but what happens to him is hilarious.
Well, that gentleman's name is James Paxton.
Oh,
that is Bill Paxton's son.
No, he was such a shit character,
Sure
and he
is.
gets got in, like, the funkiest way. It's so funny.
A little bit more than a cameo, but he is in this.
His character was just kind of, like, disposable. And he's there for the goof, but the way he goes out, he and his woman get frustrated because they didn't believe that there's a tornado until there was a tornado. They hop in their truck and try to get away, and the finger of God just like, nope, just slaps him out of the air. I was just like, all right.
It's a suck zone.
I definitely had a wish list. I didn't have a lot of predictions because Twisters, there's going to be Twisters. I wanted to come into this one with the idea of, instead of Twisters, oh, look, there's just another Twister, or look, these Twisters are somehow more dangerous. You spoke of an F5, you got Brock Lesnar out there running around. I definitely wanted to see this lean into that heavier not so much goofy, but yeah, let's fucking go for it.
Mhm.
Let's do visual effects. Let's do, grandiose scale nonsense, because we've seen the Twisters. We've seen a love story. We've seen it be a monster. We've seen these things. Let's do Twisters 2, the new batch. I want to see an electric twister. I want a gargoyle twister. I want a tornado. You know what I mean?
All right.
There is a fire twister.
Yeah.
We do get a fire twister. Yep, there's that.
You know what? Speaking of that, the fire tornado, yeah, there is a fire tornado. The big one at the end of the movie is headed towards a little town called El Reno.
Mhm.
The El Reno tornado of 2013 is one of the deadliest on record. It completely changed tornado chasing as a whole, the science and everything.
I've heard of that one because a lot of people died.
Yeah, I don't know if it's good or bad.
Yep.
I'm just like, oh, does that mean like this town's about to get wiped off the map again?
Yeah. Like, there's a whole festival or something going on right here. I don't know what it is, but like everyone, this is the equivalent of like the El Reno Stern Wheel Regatta or something, because everyone is here.
Vanilla Ice was there?
Vanilla Ice was there. Everybody was there.
Go Twister, go Twister, go. Go Twister, go Twister, go.
All right, stop.
Of course, the main attraction shows up too, the tornado. Why I want to bring that into the discussion is because, like, the fire tornado does show up, and it's the coolest fucking thing that I've seen in a really long time. And that is the most frustrating thing to say.
It does kind of happen toward the very end, and it feels not all that important. So for something that cool, I kind of understand. We're still focused on like the big tornado and it heading toward El Reno, but at this point,
Yeah.
it's fucking around with Javi and his sort of Jonas character partner. And this is where
Yeah.
they split up. It's like, hey, we got to get back there and get that data. We've got a lot of good data. That's going to be valuable. We can make
Yeah.
money for our investors. And Javi finally has his turn and is like, we got to get to that town, help those people, got to be good guys.
Brady, you remember in the first movie where Jonas had that, like, driver guy?
Yeah.
And though his name escapes me, I remember him vividly because he was kind of Jonas's voice of reason, even though Jonas was a bit of a hothead, right?
Mhm.
Well, in this movie, they kind of flipped the script. Now, like, Javi's the more level-headed one, and this guy that he has with him is just, like, a total jerk. He doesn't care about anybody. It's all about the data. Human lives be damned. You're right, Chandler. Like, Javi has a change of mind. This giant fire tornado is headed towards El Reno. What are we going to do? Javi leaves the guy in the path of the tornado. It's totally my headcanon that he just got slurped up.
Right into the suck zone.
Baby, she's flying, man!
That's pretty much murder, though. Like, if I throw you in a shark tank, you're gonna get it.
No. He doesn't murder him. He just, like, leaves him there. You know, for nature to take its path, you know.
It's just humorous, not just because of, like, the implications, just because of just so kind of out of pocket it was.
It wasn't one of those cool moments where he got like a shining send-off where he looks at the screen as the truck is driving away and then he looks back at the Twister and goes, "For Frodo," and runs at it.
It kind of does that old action adventure movie thing where there's a guy that's like an annoying prick through the whole movie, but they get just like a little bit more than they deserve. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, I think the best course of action would be like have a scene where Javi like punches the guy, like knocks him out so he shuts up because he's such a big mouth.
Yes.
But no, he just gets like, what kind of homicide is that? You know, involuntary manslaughter, or is that just manslaughter?
I'm not sure if that's the thing, but it's definitely a form of fucking negligence for sure.
Hey, Oklahoma attorneys who have an experience with tornado law, get at us in the comments.
Tornado law.
So, all right, this is the final showdown. Everybody's rolling into El Reno. You got to mush all these people that are at this festival into a movie theater that is showing like Frankenstein or something similarly public domain.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, they could have had something that would have pertained more to the source material. Play Twister,
Mhm.
be extra meta, do anything, because there is that scene where like they pack everybody into the movie theater and then the theater screen blows out and you just see the tornado in the background. And this entire scene works really well.
The roof comes off.
Yeah, it kind of makes me feel like this movie was like developed backwards or something.
What, like they determine the finish before they determine the beginning?
Yeah, they had the great idea of like, oh, everybody's in a theater and that's the gag. And then everything in reverse, which kind of like tapers out like a tornado.
We're so good, it's gonna fucking tear the roof off this place. And then the T-Rex steps into the spotlight, raises its head, and does the logo, and you're like, oh, okay.
I thought he was just going to put on a hat and start putting on the Ritz.
Oh. So in the middle of all this looks like it's the big one. Another F5, maybe this is an F6, I don't know, but it's the big one. It looks like this tornado is heading straight for this theater. These hundreds of people who have been watching this movie are going to die. They're not watching. So Kate does the only thing that she can do. She runs out, gets in the truck, which conveniently has several barrels of this surfactant, this powdery stuff. I don't know what it is. She drives it straight up into that tornado. By the way, locks down the truck's augers, because this is Tyler's truck. He has little drills to set himself into the ground.
The whole time my tornado brain was like, there's no way the movie's going to pay any money to build a TIV, a tornado interceptor vehicle. So they took a Dodge Ram and they put some corkscrews on it. There you go. Yep. Homemade.
Oh, yeah. As much as the original Twister is an advertisement for Dodge trucks, this is also an advertisement for Dodge trucks.
Oh.
Exactly the same.
A truck is a tool, but a Ram is life.
There is one non-Dodge truck in this entire movie. It is a Toyota, and we see it for the very first scene. We only see it long enough to know that it does not last.
Well, all comes to a head, though. She gets out there with her truck, and she's getting pretty beaten battered. This tornado is just like, all right, I'm going to be real honest. Like, I didn't think for a second she was in danger.
No.
She just kind of rolls into an F5 tornado.
She's got that main character armor.
Yeah, she's got a plot armor sponsored by Dodge.
Ooh.
Innovations, comforts, and powertrains built to power all the lives you live. Ram.
Wearing a seatbelt. That's all it took in the first one.
No, this has harnesses. They talk about them. Mm-hmm.
It does. All at the same time, you got Tyler and the gang at El Reno Theater. They're just like, oh, don't suck me up. Please don't suck me up. Oh, shit. I'd hate for my fortune cookie to be right. You know, that kind of sentiment.
But this is how it all kind of comes to a close. It turns out her foamy stuff works. They did the calculations right, so it's not just calculating for the precipitation, but calculating for the moisture, the humidity inside the air as well, because that's where it got all wrong in the first place 5 years ago. She kills herself a tornado, doesn't even have to be wrangled, and everybody claps.
Everybody claps.
So this movie ends with her drying up a tornussi.
I don't think it's dry after that airport scene.
Right? Oh man, they have such a schmaltzy end to this movie. It belongs in a completely different picture, I'm telling you.
Yeah, Javi drops her off at the airport and you know, hugs and goes in. We see Tyler right there in line behind her. I guess he's off too.
Yeah.
I didn't expect Paul Scheer to be in this.
He's just there. I don't know what that's about. I don't know, man. Like they run the whole Dumb and Dumber gambit where like they run through the airport and they get together at the end.
Well, it's because her flight is delayed due to high winds.
And scene with the airport thing didn't even have as much emotional depth as Crocodile Dundee 2.
It's not that it's bad. It's just like corny out of nowhere.
The stuff with Tyler and Kate, yeah, that's corny out of nowhere. Of course, you know, they're going to get together or whatever.
Right.
But the Tyler and Paul Scheer is what gets me. That's just a good time. That's just a funny thing. Oh, you got to move your truck. You're going to get towed.
Is that what he says because he drills into the street?
Well, he says something also corny like, looks like double parked or something like that.
I mean, he doesn't say that, but that's exactly what happens, yeah.
If you could convince me, instead of a final thoughts, if you could wrap it up in a bow.
I think this movie's at least worth a watch because it does some things different. There are some great ideas in here, but unfortunately the movie doesn't touch on them as much as it should. Like the stuff that I liked the most, I didn't get a lot of, and the stuff that I did get was kind of like mid. A lot of mid, and then there's like that bright flash at the end that gets you kind of re-excited before you leave. It's almost as if it was like some kind of executive decision there, but I think it's at least worth a shot. But don't go to the theaters. I think it's perfectly fine to catch it on streaming later.
Honestly, I disagree. I liked this, I'll say, quite a bit. It's not as good as the original, but I think the original is really, really good. If you liked the original, you will like this. It's different. There's a different cast. I think the cast is good. I think it's not great. I think the vibes are very similar. But it's not the same movie. It's close, but if you like the original, might as well check it out.
Well, there you have it. That was Twisters, with an S at the end. If you have any strong feelings about the movie or the show, leave it in that comment section wherever available.
Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Be sure to bash that bell icon too, and don't get it twisted, so you don't miss what we got brewing up next.
Get out there and follow us on social media. We got all that jazz. We've even got YouTubes. You can find us anywhere. Podcasts are available, y'all. Give us a fucking listen. Sometimes we're funny, and sometimes, most of the time, I watch the movie too.
Do we have jazz? When did we get jazz?